Did you know that men are more likely to suffer heart attacks around the age of 65, while women face this risk on average at 72? The most alarming part is that many people have no idea how to prevent these cardiac events. Now think about it, could your arteries be clogged without you knowing? Are you ignoring any warning signs? Today's topic is the health of your arteries. We'll dive into which foods can help and which ones might be causing harm. Are you making the right choices in your diet, or could you be unknowingly putting your health at risk? I'll also show you a simple and free test you can do at home to check how well your circulation is doing. And there's more. At the end, I'll reveal a recent scientific breakthrough that could revolutionize the treatment of clogged arteries, without surgery or stents. Curious to learn more? Before we begin, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. That way you won't miss any essential content like this. And tell me, has anyone in your family or even yourself ever experienced a heart attack or stroke? Or are you dealing with arterial plaque? Share your story in the comments. Let's go. Have you ever stopped to think about how your body changes over time? Or do you believe it stays the same? One significant change that comes with age is the hardening and thickening of artery walls, making it harder for blood to flow. Additionally, fatty plaques start to form and build up gradually, often without any noticeable signs. By the time you realize it, it might be too late. A heart attack or stroke could change your life forever. But when exactly do atherosclerosis and plaque buildup begin? The truth is, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process that can start as early as childhood and worsen over time. Many people believe this is an issue only for the elderly, but the reality is quite different. A study conducted in the United States revealed that 78% of young people under the age of 35, who were victims of fatal traffic accidents, already had plaque in their coronary arteries. Almost 80%. These are individuals in the prime of their lives with already compromised arteries. And the most surprising part, 20% of them had more than 50% obstruction. First point, atherosclerosis can begin much earlier than you think. Now, pay attention because this is something that few people know. How do fatty plaques cause heart attacks and strokes? Larger plaques are not always the most dangerous. Smaller plaques can also be fatal because they have the potential to rupture. Let me explain how this happens. When a plaque forms, it is covered by a protective layer. Think of it like the plastic wrap you use to cover food. The issue is that, due to inflammation, stress, and sleepless nights, this layer can rupture like the plastic tearing. At that moment, everything trapped inside, fat, calcium, and other inflammatory substances, is released into the bloodstream. Platelets, which normally help stop bleeding, quickly rush to the site of the rupture. What's the problem? The artery acts like a tube. The platelets form a clot, which, although meant to help, can end up completely blocking the vessel. The blood inside the artery has nowhere to go, stopping the flow. And the result can be devastating. A heart attack if the clot occurs in the coronary arteries, or a stroke if it happens in the brain vessels. That's why you probably know someone who seemed to be in perfect health and suddenly died from a sudden heart attack. When you heard the news, you might have wondered, was he really not feeling anything? Sometimes the answer is no. Small plaques often don't cause symptoms before they rupture. And the most surprising thing is that most heart attacks are caused by plaques smaller than 50%. Did you know that? That's why it's crucial to start taking care of your arteries as early as possible. And how have you been caring for yours? One of the main ways is through your diet. Avoiding harmful foods and incorporating those that are beneficial. But don't worry, I'll explain all of this shortly. Now, you might be wondering, how can I find out if I already have fat buildup in my arteries? There are several ways to detect artery problems. Your doctor may recommend a carotid Doppler test, which checks for blockages in the arteries leading to the brain. This is one of the simplest methods. Or, if necessary, an abdominal aorta Doppler to identify plaques or aneurysms in the aorta. Another option is the calcium score, a type of CT scan without contrast that quantifies the calcium present in the coronary arteries. Now attention, a score of 0 doesn't mean your arteries are free of plaques. This is because there are new, softer plaques that, as I mentioned, are dangerous because they can rupture. To examine the coronary arteries more accurately, your doctor may request a coronary angiogram or a catheterization. Then, it is possible to identify whether you have plaques or not and what the percentage of obstruction is. Additionally, the doctor may request an arterial Doppler to check if the blood flow in your legs is adequate. All of these tests are expensive and relatively recent. But how did doctors in the 1950s identify blockages? Ankle brachial index, ABI. They could use an electrocardiogram, which also helped detect issues, but they also performed a simple test with a blood pressure cuff, something you can do at home, to check for peripheral artery disease, which can also indicate cardiovascular risks. Of course, it's not as precise as an angiogram or catheterization, but it's a good indicator. This test is the ankle brachial index, a quick method to measure blood flow and detect the presence of plaque or hardening in the arteries, which are key indicators of peripheral artery disease. In addition to being simple, this exam can be performed in medical offices. Many still use a Doppler, which is more accurate, or for an initial evaluation, it can be done at home with a blood pressure cuff. It's important to note that at home, it serves only as an initial indicator. One important observation: if you have had deep vein thrombosis, it's better to avoid this test. How to perform the ankle brachial index test. If applicable, grab the blood pressure cuff, paper, and pen to note the results. This test essentially compares the blood pressure in your ankle with that in your arm. It's important to perform it on both sides of the body for a complete analysis. Now let's go step by step. First, choose one side and measure the blood pressure in your arm, for example, the right arm. After measuring the pressure in the right arm, note the systolic value, which is the highest reading, the first one that appears on your monitor. Next, lie down in a comfortable spot and relax for a few minutes to allow your body to calm down. Then, measure the pressure at your ankle where the two main arteries are located. You can check both ankles if you prefer. Be sure to note the maximum readings again. Next, measure the pressure on the other ankle, for example, the left one, and record the reading. Then measure the pressure on the arm that you haven't measured yet. It's normal to have a pressure difference between both sides. If you took multiple readings for each limb, which is recommended, choose the highest reading for the systolic pressure of the arteries. Now, divide the highest ankle systolic pressure by the highest systolic pressure from both arms. The result will be the ankle brachial index for each leg. Formula example. Ankle brachial index right, highest pressure in the right ankle divided by the highest systolic pressure between the arms. Interpretation of results. The normal ankle brachial index is between 1.0 and 1.4. Values below 0.9 indicate the presence of peripheral artery disease. Values above 1.4 may suggest that the vessels are hardened due to calcification. If the index falls outside the 0.9 to 1.4 range, it could be a sign of advanced atherosclerosis or arterial stiffness, which can affect both the heart and the brain. This test is highly accurate, with a 95% sensitivity and 100% specificity in detecting serious arterial issues in the limbs. Let us know your result in the comments below. If the results are outside the normal range, it's time to consult a doctor for more thorough tests. The interesting part is that over time, you can track how your arteries are improving. For example, if you've started walking more or quit smoking, the results could show improvement. So, start monitoring your arterial health now and share this knowledge with others. And if you haven't shared this video yet, go ahead and share it now. I bet your friends will want to take the test today. And what if the result is very high or very low? If the results of your test show very high or low values, don't panic. This does not mean there is no solution. Some foods can be major enemies of your arteries, promoting plaque buildup and increasing inflammation. Here are the 6 biggest villains you should avoid. Ultra-processed foods. These are some of the worst for your arteries. Filled with preservatives, fats, and salt, foods like filled cookies, snacks, sodas, and even instant noodles are all harmful to your health. They replace natural, homemade meals, causing inflammation in the body and raising cholesterol levels. Think twice before grabbing that microwave lasagna at the supermarket. Sugar and corn syrup. Packaged juices, ready-made sauces, and even fit bars can be loaded with sugar and corn syrup. Trans fats. Margarines, ice creams, fast food like Big Macs, fries, and industrial desserts are full of trans fats. Saturated fats. Processed meats like sausages, ham, bacon, and hot dogs are full of preservatives and sodium, which damage arteries and promote plaque formation. Refined carbohydrates. White bread, white rice, and simple pasta can cause insulin spikes, obesity, and inflammation when consumed in excess. You don't need to cut them completely from your diet, but it's worth reducing their frequency. Fried foods in general. Foods that benefit your arteries. Legumes, beans, lentils, and chickpeas help control cholesterol and glucose levels, in addition to providing plant-based proteins. Oats. Rich in fiber, oats lower bad cholesterol and help combat abdominal fat. Beetroot. Contains nitrates that improve circulation and dilate blood vessels. Greens. Leaves like arugula and spinach increase nitric oxide levels, improving blood flow and keeping arteries clear. Seeds, chia and flax, rich in fiber, antioxidants, and omega-3, these seeds help control cholesterol and reduce inflammation. Fruits. Avocado is rich in healthy fats, while berries are great for circulation. Nuts. Almonds and walnuts provide healthy fats, making them excellent for heart health. Fish. Salmon and sardines, rich in omega-3, help reduce triglycerides and increase good cholesterol. Extra virgin olive oil, great for heart health, it's a more affordable investment than many medications. Dark chocolate, above 70%, improves circulation and lowers blood pressure due to the flavonoids it contains. Making changes to your diet can be challenging, but with healthier choices, you can take care of your heart and reduce risks for a healthier and more fulfilling life. Take care of your arteries, make adjustments to your diet, exercise more, and if necessary, seek the appropriate medical treatment. You can do it. As a final bonus, I have an amazing discovery that could revolutionize medicine. Have you ever imagined removing fat plaques from your arteries without the need for surgery, stents, or lifelong medication? It sounds like science fiction, but recent research is making this possible and has already been successfully tested in animals with atherosclerosis. Scientists have discovered how to use nanoparticles smaller than a hair strand to reactivate a natural process in the body called atherosclerosis. This process helps remove the cells that accumulate in the arteries and form plaques. In other words, these particles can clean the arteries from the inside out. The body already tries to do this on its own, but when the plaques grow too large, it can't manage. With the nanoparticles, this process is accelerated, removing even the most dangerous plaques. It has been tested on animals with promising results, and now researchers are preparing for human trials. Imagine a future where cleaning arteries is quick, effective, and free of serious side effects, as shown by the early tests. This could have a huge impact on the lives of millions of people. Although it is still in the early stages, this research brings great hope for the treatment of atherosclerosis. What do you think of this discovery? If you liked it, like and share to keep receiving health tips like these.